coaches to casuals, grassroots to the league. This is Open Gyms. I'm Coach Q.
Coach T, who I be.
Coach Wayne here, baby. We here.
I'll ask the first question. If you could do it all over, would you coach your son?
Hell yeah. And I'm not gonna even sugarcoat it or hold it. Nah. I mean, now one thing I will say, the perception of when I started coaching my son is not so. Second grade, I was not the head coach. Mm-hmm. Coach Lord was the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Third grade, I was not the head coach. Coach Darius was the head coach. Mm-hmm. I didn't take over till fourth grade.
Mm-hmm.
So even taking over then, it was more so like, I understand, and it wasn't even about my son at the time. It was actually about the kids that I had. And I understood what they were projecting to and what I can help them get to. Now, as a dad, it was more so like, I feel like I'm the best one to get my son to where he needs to get to, at least to get to middle school. Because my whole goal was just get him to middle school and take the hands off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get him to where he can get to a coach that has a system and everything like that. He can get to that system and he's good to go. So my whole thing was preparation, IQ, development, skill to get to a point to where a coach, you in practice and the coach say, all right, I need you to get to the line. I need you to get to the mid line. Okay, coach, for sure. I need you to deny the pass, for sure. I'm in the gap, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was more so knowing that I just want to prepare my son the way I was prepared, even though it wasn't by my dad, but it was by a great coach. I just want him to get that same type of background that I had that led to me and other players I grew up with being successful in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't necessarily about just me as a dad, but just so happened I was his dad and I had played the game at a high level and I had been coached at a high level that I knew I could provide what was needed, not only for my son, but for the kids around him to be successful.
Yeah.
You know,
I say you did a good job at it. You know, I've looked at a lot of dad coaches, and some of them shouldn't coach their son. Yeah, and you see it. And
we done been in many games and seen that dad literally about chastise or beat up his son in the middle of a game. You know, it's like, bro, it's not that serious.
Yeah, like I would say you did a good job at coaching Zion. If I was asked that question, I would coach Tony again.
Yeah.
And people that know me know I didn't daddy ball. I didn't, you rarely knew he was my son till you watched us leave and you be like, oh, that was your son? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. My son, actually, we had this thing to where anytime we were around the team, he never called me dad.
Yeah.
I never called him son.
Yeah.
I'm coach.
Yeah.
That's 5. That's White.
Yeah.
There's Zai. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we kept that dynamic for a long time now. It took for him to tell me one day. We were in Tennessee, 4th grade, Q. And we had played 2 games that day. We had lost the first 2 games in Tennessee.
I might have went to that tournament.
You might have.
Yeah.
We were watching film. You came to the hotel, was watching film. Before you got there, though, he ain't played good. I say, what's going on, bro? He said, man, you put too much pressure on me.
Mm-hmm.
From that point on, I figured out our dynamic.
And that happened with me.
You figured that dynamic
out,
when I
first started, I held him too accountable.
Yeah.
And I remember I tell people, anybody I've talked to about this, it was one game in particular, we lost the game. And a guy was watching. You could tell he liked being around basketball. He was an older guy. And he came up to me and he said, man, you do a good job with those boys, man. Being a coach coached, you do a good job. I could tell you care about their development. He said, number 11, your son, ain't it? And I was like, I said, yeah. He said, yeah. I said, how you know? He said, you hold him to accountable.
Yeah.
And me and my wife had already got into it about him, and she would say, "Oh, he shuts down. You don't see it. You think you helping him, you hurting him." I ain't want to hear that. I just wanted him to be fearless.
Yeah,
but because I didn't have it, and I wanted him to look. I missed it. I want you to be able to make it and perform and do it. And that dude told me that, and I was like, he said, this is how you get your son to listen to you. He said, coach everybody else. Don't even look at him. When you call your timeout, you do it. He said, don't say nothing to him. Talk to every kid around him and watch how bright-eyed he be. And I be like, it worked. Like, so from that, like you said, you had that moment where your son told you.
He told me, he was like,
an older guy, elder told me, and he was like, do this. And I was able to coach him after that.
Now, I feel like that's one of the best conversations I ever had with my son.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, to foster that environment to where he was able to grow and I grew as a coach and he grew as a player.
Yeah.
And what I noticed was I did put a lot of problem. I remember during the game, I was like, give me something white. Goddamn, you not. And didn't realize what I was doing. I felt like I was doing the same thing I was doing to every other player. But the way he took it in that moment was dad was talking.
You dad.
He didn't take it as coach was talking.
We don't never sit and look at, they want to be perfect in our eyes.
Yeah.
That they don't want to be wrong. If you have a debate with your son at home, we all know after they done hit that little puberty stage and they got a mind of them, they never want to be wrong.
Nah, you're right.
They want to be right. They want to be perfect in your sight.
Yeah.
So when you add that extra pressure, I tell dads now, don't say nothing to him. I got him.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing.
That was our dynamic.
Yeah. Don't say nothing.
I said, you talk to Zai, I talk to Q.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the time it was like, you know, they heard daddy.
Yep. That's all they gonna hear.
You know, and we're saying the same thing.
But you got this small percentage of the ones where you can see what a dad is and they respond. But this percentage is this small.
But what I put in though that helped us out was a 24-hour rule.
Yeah.
The 24-hour rule was I could not say nothing negative about the game itself within 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after the game, we would talk about all positives. I don't care if his only positives was setting a good screen, taking a charge, and diving on the floor.
Yeah.
We talk, bro, you dove on the floor real good, bro.
Yeah.
You took that charge. That was a hell of a
one. You better than me. I pointed out all the negatives. but
no, I'm about to say like that's probably like you want to talk about like mental strength and toughness.
Man, look.
That motherfucker right there, you just said as a dad, that's the hardest thing.
Look, but
that's not even being a coach. That's just in general.
Yeah.
Like, but I know that I've been trying to be more intentional about that for sure.
But when I put that in though, it made him take the game so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then it was like I can come to my dad to talk about the game now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because before now we understand the pressure they get from the other parent at times.
Oh yeah.
Or can get from other parents. So as the dads, we have to make sure now we're that stability. I can come and talk to you about my mistakes, my miscues, my everything. So that's actually what opened that door was making that 24-hour rule to where like now after the game, it's like, I played bad. Nah, bro. You boxed out 3 times right there. I seen you box at the big, bro. You tipped that thing out.
Man,
like,
hey, look,
you made that extra pass, my boy. You get that tip ball.
I might have to steal that because man, last year I went to after the game and he didn't play good. And I just told him, I said, look, bro, I'm going to talk to you how your fellow mates talk to you. You cheeks, bro.
Nah, you can't do this.
No, I know, but that's what I did.
No, I get what you were coming from.
And then when he put his head down, I said, why can't I talk to you like your homeboys? Why can't I? Why you take it so bad? Like, I'm asking. I'm like, but I know, but I'm just asking.
You want to see if he gonna?
Yeah, I want to see if he go. Yeah.
So you're triggering that communication.
Yeah,
I get that point too. Like so, and that comes from actually knowing your child too.
Yeah, right.
So I knew
he's not vocal enough.
I knew it worked for me and my child.
Yeah, right.
You know, it works for you and your child versus him. So for me and my child was more so he's a talker. He's gonna talk about it. But so what I want you to do is focus on positive first. We'll talk about negative when the emotion is calmed down.
Yeah.
And then we talk about how to fix the negative.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, it may be I missed a couple of shots or I didn't shoot well off the dribble. Or why is that?
Right.
But that's the next day though.
Oh, see, well, I changed my delivery. So I'm good on that, but I might need to try it. But my you cheeks was like, man, nigga, you cheeks. Instead of saying, nigga, you cheeks, and going crazy.
You gotta give a positive reinforcement sandwich.
Right.
So say something positive first.
Right.
hey, bro, I seen you playing hard on defense. Ref called you for a bum ass foul. You may just say something.
Yeah.
But if you would have cut the middle off and you wouldn't have got that foul.
Yeah.
But on the backside, I did see you you boxed out like I don't know what. You took that charge. You would communicate to your teammates. So now it's like you leave off that conversation. It's like, you right there. You know what I mean? Versus him leaving up that conversation with a negative thought in his mind, like, man, my dad talking shit about me, bro. He don't understand it from my perspective.
But look, I will say he took the U cheeks calm better than if I would have spazzed out though.
Oh no. Mm-hmm.
So when I said
you get to that point to when you can literally start talking to them like this.
He took it like a couple years ago, he would have really been like that. He would have been walking around the crib, not
That's the
eating.
moment now. That's the moment now.
Yeah, but he took it more well than I would have expected. I just the delivery, I worked on that.
Nah, I dig it. Y'all went in a couple different places. I'll answer the first part first. I'm gonna go opposite of y'all.
You gonna say no? You want to coach your kid again if you had a chance to?
If I could. And the funny thing is that probably since like 5th grade, you probably heard me say out loud that like next year I'm not trying to coach him. Mm-hmm. And like that's been an intentional thing, but like scenarios and circumstances have made sense. Like when I left grind, I really wasn't trying to coach him again. Walking First Baptist, he's like, "Hey Q,
I need you, bro. We back, nigga."
And I'm like,
we back, nigga. Let's go. We started this shit. Let's go, nigga.
Right. So
get the trio back together. Let's go, nigga.
Like again, like my stance with like EA prep and like I didn't want to. I just was trying to go over there, and then like with 8th grade. It just can't.
You fell into 8th grade,
and then last year it just like got all right. I guess like I personally really wanted to just kind of like chill. I think that for me, if I could redo it again, maybe like early on, like elementary school.
You keep them early on years, maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th, that 3rd and 4th grade year.
Yeah, because I think that so much of that is like you can hone in on like very specific fundamentals and different things like that. But I think that as I think of all three of us as coaches, there is a space where it becomes a really hard balance with you and your kid. And it's not only just with like if your kid's succeeding and not succeeding, but I also think that there's a space where we can hold our kid back because of you don't want it to look like daddy ball. You don't want it to look like, like a bunch of these different things. Like you're trying to make sure that you are as fair as possible with your kid and the perception of everybody else and how like anything can be perceived. And I think that ends up being like its own like interesting little dynamic to have to balance out because of if you're a good coach, you can't make it about your kid.
Yeah.
It's all like your kid has to be 6'8" and like the most amazing thing walking. If it's like two degrees of separation, you can't because of what comes with that. Everybody's going to say this daddy ball, that's this, that, and the third, where sometimes I think that an objective eye, it can be whatever it is. And I think that like that's its own little balance that I think that when being able to step away at whatever age, you kind of get.
You said something. Just noticing when to step away. The guys need to know that you can start with them, but I'm at a point now where I don't want to coach them no more.
I got
you get what I'm saying? Like I started, and I feel
like. When was the last time you coached?
It's probably been a couple seasons because
about 8th grade, 7th grade.
Yeah, because I got to that point where it's like, you want to know what? When he went and played with Accelerate, it was like, I got to see the fruits you put in. To me, he played at his highest, and I didn't want to be coach no more. I just wanted it, like you said, I wanted to see it now.
Yeah.
So, and then I think that there's also a spot where, as dads, it's like it's a gift and a curse. Where like if you know the game a lot, like it's so hard not to be like, that shit is wrong. What y'all doing is wrong.
Wrong as fuck.
But then there's this other part where I think that I could imagine the kid could really, really appreciate where you're just selfish with them.
Mm-hmm.
And like you're rooting for them and their success and everything that comes with all of those different things. Outside of like the guise of also having to blend that in within like a team concept, if that makes sense.
No, I got you.
Where there's a space where as a coach, especially if you're a really good coach, you can't be selfish with your kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, you can put in the hours that you want with them. You can do all these other things. But again, especially if you with like a reputable program, XYZ, there's a space where you have to be egalitarian. You have to make sure everybody eats.
Oh, yeah.
Like more than likely, your system probably reflects that because of you want to make sure that nobody thinks this is a daddy ball situation. And like, I think that those are the situations, especially depending on like my kid's level of development, I want him in. But then, like you said, when do you move away and then just be able to like cheer them on?
Mm-hmm.
Just be that loud cheering voice that they hear every time they make a bucket and be like, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a really powerful place for that. But if you be daddy coach all the time, if you're good, you can't ever do that. And that makes it hard.
Well, I want to say it's funny part about it. It was times where, you called me out when we were coaching together. He'd be like, bro, why you take Zai out?
Mm-hmm.
My mind is like, I don't want nobody to feel like his daddy, but he made a hit like 2-3 in a row.
Yeah.
Bryce, go get him. You know what I mean? So,
and the hard thing is like back at Grind, this was like this is like during the Nationals where like, maybe I was being hard on him, but I don't know. Like I remember taking QJ out and that being an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
I've been through the same
thing. It becomes like such a hard
little parents say like, yo, why is Zai not in the game?
Oh, he trying to, and it's like, God, like if I play him in something, if I don't play him in something, God,
how do I win this conversation right now? But
I experienced that too.
And to piggyback on what he says, like it happened to us. So 7th grade, we kind of did Team United, right? So to 8th grade, everybody kind of went their separate ways in a sense. You know what I mean? To where Zai ended up playing with Bobby. Kelly Premier.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the funny part about it, I went to the whole situation as a dad. Showed up to the first game, ready to sit on the sideline, cuss and act a daggone fool. Hey, man, I want you to sit on the bench. For real?
Right.
Every time.
Yep.
For real?
Every time.
Cool.
It
And then it got to a point, it was like,
now you over there with the clipboard.
No, the player that asked me to sit on the bench, I ain't gonna say the player's name. He was like, yo, I got you, bro. I'm gonna sit down. Well, now, mind you, none of my kids was another kid.
Yeah.
Then it got to a point where, hey, I got you listed as a coach. You got a band. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, hold on. Let me pause you right there. That is the problem right there. That's the problem. Them tournaments cost too damn much.
Yeah, bro.
And the sweetest part about being a coach, you don't pay shit. You get that band, and then like, and it's cool.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
And
I don't mind saving 40.
So
we had a circuit 60. I don't mind the 80. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing that makes it sweet. Where it's like, damn, I want to sit my ass over here.
Yeah,
but I need that band.
So it got to a point where me was like, for real, bro. Like, I've coached so long that most tournaments locally, I just walk in the gym and they just automatically assume I'm coaching.
Yeah.
What up, coach? What time your team play? I gotta check the schedule.
Yeah, and just walk it. Yeah,
as a dad, bro, I ain't got no band.
They don't ask you nothing.
What parents be like, hey, how much you pay to get in? Hey, I just walked in, bro.
Straight.
Just walked in, but more than anything else, when it comes to coaching your kid, though, bro, it's like I harp back on it. Like for me, it was more so that I knew the path that I took to get to where I got to, which got me a free education. And I figured that if I can at least give my kid at least that at the basis of things, I was going to do him the service. Now, it's funny when Q made the statements like, it's kind of a gift and a curse, because there are many times that he should have been able to succeed a little bit more in the game or in things that as a dad, I was like, nah, I gotta dial it back. I don't want nobody to feel like I'm making it about him.
Yeah.
And he may have earned every moment that he got.
That was his moments.
May have earned every moment, bro. But as a dad, it was like, as a dad coach, it was like, let me pull him back.
Scale it back.
Let me go ahead and sub somebody else in for him quick to make sure nobody feel a certain kind of way where you get afterwards like, hey man, why you keep side the game?
Yeah.
It's the parents talking now, you know.
Yeah, they do that.
Like I told you, we've been blessed to have a lot of dad coach, a lot of dads for our kids. So we're talking about, you got dads saying, hey bro, why you take him out? He was hooping, he didn't do nothing wrong. And literally with moments I really couldn't justify taking him out more so than not want to be considered
daddy ball.
A daddy ball.
But you want to know what? You better than me. If Tony was cooking, he was cooking. I ain't one thing I say, and people know, like it.
I got you.
Yeah, like I mean, if he was doing it, because again, Wayne, my program wasn't strong. I had a bunch of development kids, and that was another reason why I pushed him away from me, because I had a bunch of development kids.
He could have,
and he was and he
there for 30 and 20
or at least a piece on your team.
Yeah,
now, if not the featured, he could have been a piece.
Yeah.
So it's like, man. So it's like when he had them moments. One weekend I can remember, it was the best weekend I probably seen him play. He was shooting at a high clip, broke his arm, broke his wrist, trying to take a damn charge at half court. I'm like, bro, why you do that? Take it in the paint. Yeah, everybody running as fast as they can. But I was showing him the art of just taking charges.
I got
but
you.
he tried to be smart and take it, and that weekend ended up with him breaking his wrist on a shooting hand. But he was cooking. I let him cook, but I wouldn't tell him it came to him. It was just, he was feeling it. He pulled a LaMelo. He just,
that can't.
I love LaMelo. I love.
But you know what though? I feel like more than anything though, all three of our sons at every point in time we're coaching them were different players.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So like with QJ, he had to have the ball in his hand because he was the only de facto great ball handler that initiated for the team. Now you had other kids that could play on the ball.
Oh, he most definitely can handle the ball. Yeah.
He de facto point guard. Yeah. Same thing with Tony. He had a certain role for your team. Yeah. Same thing with Zai, a certain role for my team, to where, parents get mad at you because their kid is affected by the fact you ain't got QJ in the game because QJ didn't get their kid the ball.
Right.
You know what I mean? Same thing with Tony. He ain't in the game to get my kid the ball, so put him back in the game.
Right.
For Zai was more so like, oh, he catching that motherfucker and shooting it.
Yeah. Tony Rowe on that team was shooting those. Tony has some crazy games over there with him.
You can put somebody else in to try to play that role.
Yeah.
But when you talking about somebody you need to be in a certain role at all times, then parents look at it differently.
Yeah.
I always took the mindset of thinking about that parent, how they thought even when they weren't thinking that way. Mm-hmm. So I overthought things myself just based on the fact that I knew what the kids can do. Like even when I brought kids in, like, we had hired for gun players.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be a time I let this player come play that in practice, but he understood my system.
Right.
Another kid would come out of town, he maybe couldn't get for sure. But the boys enjoyed that player being added as well.
Oh man, when you got that sequel kid, oh my God. That was crazy. I ain't like that, boy. I was like, man, between him and Nas, they was just so.
Bro, and the funny part about it, we found sequel at BAM camp.
That's crazy, man.
BAM camp.
Shout out sequel. I just seen his dad. I was going to Concord Mills yesterday.
He worked at DTLR.
Oh, do we really?
Yeah, DTLR.
I didn't know that. I was just pulling up. I was just driving. Yesterday.
The Charger.
Yeah, he was in the Charger. Yeah. I was at the stoplight. I look over. He look over. You know what I mean? We get the happy Thanksgivings back and forth. But shout out to Sequel. He out there in Indian Land.
That's one of my favorite kids. That kid is the only kid, not only kid, but that kid that called me out of nowhere. Hey, coach, just called to see how you doing.
That make you feel good, don't it? Yeah, when you get that. I just out the blue. How you was
doing, bro? Just
or can I get in the gym with you?
Can I get in the gym? I get them a lot from him and the cruises and all. It's like, hey, and that makes you feel good. A kid trusts you to get them better.
Yeah.
So if they need to tighten up some things, then they can call you and you're gonna address what's needed to help them further that their game and be better in that moment, man. That's what I get a kick out of right now. Is like when I get that phone call, especially from that it player.
Yeah.
That, they done kind of left out the flock and went a few other places. Like they call back. I feel like they call them back home.
Mm-hmm.
Like you call them back home to the crib. Hey man, I know where the roots lie.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it. And I embrace all that, bro. You know what I mean? But just kind of capping out the whole dad coaching thing, man. It's been a blessing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I will say that more than anything else. I feel like because I've been blessed to be taught the game the right way, who else better to teach my son but myself to play the game the right way?
And then just the road trips. Go on the road trips and, go to get something to eat. That was me and Tony thing. We going,
man, to this day, this dude don't call nobody else but me. I'm like, bro, come on now. Right. God, you in 10th grade in high school, man. Call a girl or something.
Right, right. But those times like that, man, you can't. I wouldn't trade that.
Oh, no, for sure.
That's a good time.
And I think that's even like the overarching travel ball experience when it comes down to like AAU and whether just stay local or stay wherever, or go or travel. I think that one of the things I would never trade is the fact of like them road trips. Mm-hmm. Even though sometimes I was on coffee, Red Bull, and that morning trying to make it from like I leave Charlotte like 1 to get to Birmingham, Alabama at like 8. Got a coach at about 9 or 10.
And I drove to Ohio on the hump. We talking about them Philly trips for baby. And then to be able to be a part of my son's first flight. Flying up to Cali together. Like he was nervous the whole time. He looking out the window. You know what I mean? Like those moments, like you said, you can't trade for anything. Like I don't feel like if I wasn't able to even be a part of that staff to travel with him in that moment would that have been the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I shout out to Aaron with EA Prep and everything. Like I went into that whole situation to be a dad.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I'm on the bench. Next thing I know, what should we do here? Hey, what you see? It's like, and you love to see that from a coaching standpoint, not a dad's, is that someone respects what you bring to the game as an IQ level, not just as that kid's dad.
Nah, he see you.
And that's the other part that's tough about like not coaching as a dad. And like I said, I know I'm a little different from y'all. Like if I did it again, I'd probably do it different. But I'm also such a thinker and competitive to where like if I can figure out a problem, I'd want to be able to express it.
Yeah.
And like so like typically like again, if you know me as a coach, like I'm not gonna be like the most rah more than like an analytical. And I'm gonna be like, this is where it went wrong. This is how we could probably fix it. And X, Y, Z. And like that is something just as a man in general, I just enjoy. Yeah. Is being competitive and problem solving is and I think that most of us, especially like we're all coaches here. If you're a coach, that's something you naturally, innately have to enjoy, which is problem solving. Because that's the whole game.
Why did you lose?
Analytical about everything.
Yeah.
And not to be funny though, but y'all have to understand, like he's right about he doesn't get rowdy, but when he does, it's like the most.
Oh yeah,
it's most like the most full moon.
Yeah,
innate type of moment,
like werewolf seeing the
like
full
bro.
moon.
I mean, one time we were in Georgia, and somebody says he's like, they sitting in the zone. He like, yo, what, bro? We ain't play zone all game, but I had to calm him down. Like, yo, Q, that's me.
Yeah,
I'm the rowdy one. You supposed to be the one to calm me down, but he took that personally that day. Like, hold on, bro, what you mean? Like, can't get mad. We busting your ass.
Yeah.
You get mad. We busting your ass. You gonna talk about we sitting in the zone? Like, nah. We sitting in gap and man. Yeah. But you don't realize that's why we beating your ass for real. You ain't picked up on that part yet.
Right.
Oh, bro, took that thing personal. He got a little rowdy on that one. So, bro, calm down, bro. That's my role.
Yeah.
I'm the rowdy one.
Yeah.
You the calm,
be
cool,
the calm
collected one.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to be like, hey, Wayne, all right, chill, back, get a check.
Right.
Chill.
But yeah, nonetheless, I guess that's a good pin to kind of put into the conversation about if you would coach your son. I imagine as we bring new coaches in, that'll be a conversation that we'll continue having.
Oh, for sure.
Where, again, if you are a coach, 9 times out of 10, at some point you probably have coached your son, and you've either decided to continue or not to, and it probably comes with reason. Talk to us. If you've seen this, let us know inside the chat.
Yes, sir.
or the comments if you have and if you made a different decision.